Now on CoastTV News.
A Selbyville arrest made connected to numerous incidents in the town. Milford Milling starts tomorrow with repaving set for next week. We have the roads that are being worked on. And paving in Rehoboth Avenue starting back up when the city says work will finish up.
Well, after a mild and cloudy weekend, we have rain knocking on our doorstep. Expect that rain to build in overnight throughout our Monday. I'll have the latest timing, how much rain we could expect to see, and when it gets downright cold across the area, when temperatures dip below that freezing mark. My full forecast coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight in Selbyville. With an update from a story we ran yesterday, Joshua Kizitsky was arrested by Selbyville police for verbally assaulting a woman, and there's been numerous calls and complaints over the past 30 days. Selbyville police say they're aware of Kizitsky's mental health concerns and say they're working with Delaware State Police on this matter. Starting this Wednesday at 9 a.m. in Georgetown, there will be lane and shoulder closures. On your screen now is where the Delmarva Central Railroad Company is performing maintenance work at the railroad crossing in Georgetown on Route 9, and there will be intermittent closures throughout the area, with the work expected to be completed by April 25th at 5 p.m. And road delays are coming to Milford starting tomorrow. On your screen now is where milling will begin in preparing for paving. This work will take place daily from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and the paving is scheduled for Monday, April 14th. In Millsboro, their bypass work moves forward, and with it comes some closures on Route 113. According to DelDOT crews, they will conduct nighttime closures on Route 113 beginning tonight through April 11th. The agency says this is to place beams for the new bridge. From tonight to April 9th, there will be closures on Route 113 for drivers going south. And then from April 9th to the 11th, there will be closures on Route 113 for drivers going north. DelDOT says crews will work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Coastal towns are weeks away from waves of vacationers crashing in, and that's why Rehoboth Beach wants to finish paving on one of its busiest roads. CoastTV News reporter Kevin Sapay shows us what to expect.
Rehoboth Beach attracts approximately 7 million visitors annually, which is why Rehoboth Beach is continuing their year-long effort to finish pave work along Rehoboth Avenue. And Annabella Doherty, who works on Rehoboth Avenue, says this could affect their business.
With the paving outside, I think it could make it harder to tell if our business is open. Just having machines, any tape, cones, anything like that.
During the month of October, DelDOT started the process of milling and paving in an effort to improve local infrastructure. But that work had to be put on pause due to the cold weather. But as temperatures begin to rise, the city is picking the paving work right back up. According to DelDOT, the project will start April 6th and go through to May 16th. And the work will happen overnight from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. You can expect construction to happen on 2nd Street and the traffic circle in Rehoboth Beach, starting right where they left off. Something Doherty hopes will be done on time and not trickle into June.
I would say May to July are the busiest months here. A lot of people come in from out of town.
Cars can expect lane closures and parking restrictions during construction. I'm Kevin Zapay, Rehoboth Beach, CoastTV News.
There's some important things to note about the repaving history of Rehoboth Avenue. We first reported this repaving back in August of 2023. It was said to be done in the off-season of 2023 to 2024. Work was then pushed back to this past off-season. Now follow me on this. In the beginning of October, DelDOT delayed the work to unexpected budget increases. Then weeks later, after the Sea Witch Festival, work officially began before being stopped due to cold weather. New lodging and rental taxes may be finding a new room in the city of Lewis. City leaders are proposing two new accommodation taxes. One would be a 2% lodging tax on hotels, and the other would tax short-term and long-term rentals at 5.5%. City officials say the proposed taxes would give visitors a way to contribute to city funds, but one hotel owner says it could cost him business.
We're all locally owned, and we all fight for our guests, and especially in today's trying times, is even a couple points we're not happy about.
City leaders are expected to discuss both proposals at their public hearing tomorrow and say if passed, these would take effect January 1st of next year. The 2025 Atlantic hurricane season starts in June, and forecasters are getting ready for a busy year. Hurricane researchers at Colorado State University have released their early outlook. The group suggests an above-average hurricane season with 17 named storms. 9 are expected to become hurricanes, and 4 will likely be major hurricanes. The researchers believe atmospheric and oceanic factors will align to create plenty of storm development. And now we take a live look into Milford. We bring in our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobuono. And Chris, no storms now, but could be coming in June.
Yeah, the hurricane season is going to be pretty interesting, and being that we're on the coast here, we have to keep a close eye, especially later on in the season, late August and September. That's kind of our window of opportunity for potential hurricane activity up by this way. But boy, I'll tell you what a difference the location made today. If you were in Salisbury, you squeezed out some nice warmth for a few hours, especially in the late morning and the early afternoon. If you were in Georgetown, Saturday night, but if you were in the Eastern Shore, we hit a high of 66. Kent County, we were only in the 50s and 60s, 83 in Ocean City, and we dropped nearly 25 to 30 degrees within a 5 to 6 hour period as that cold front pushed through. You can see right now pretty uniform in the lower to mid 50s, 53 Rehoboth, we're at 51 in Bethany, 54 in Redden. You can see we're pretty dry at the moment, but rain is knocking on our doorstep. You can see plenty of it back off to the southwest, and it's going to be kind of a train of moisture here over the next 24 hours as this frontal boundary just parks to our south. So the rain overspreads the area through the overnight. Can't even rule out a rumble of thunder, but we will see rain heavy at times throughout the morning and really into Monday night. It's trending wetter, and it's trending a bit more longer into Monday. And then we are looking at the return of Old Man Winter as we go into a Tuesday and Wednesday. So add some extra time to your commute tomorrow. Some heavy rain throughout the morning, ponding on the roadways. So take your time, make sure those headlights are on and those wipers are going. 46 off to school tomorrow. Downpours and a very raw day ahead with temperatures not budging all that much, barely getting to 50 degrees with scattered showers throughout the afternoon. We'll talk more about the rain, how much we could expect to see, and that big cool down we've been talking about for days coming up.
Thank you, Chris. Delaware farmers are gearing up for planting season, and that means more farming equipment is on the move from field to field. Drivers are urged to reduce speed and be cautious around tractors and other farm equipment on the roads, and especially on those back roads. Also, allow yourself extra time to reach your destination. The Delaware Center for Inland Bays is bracing for changes after federal cuts, slashing 60% of program funds and 85% of staffing dollars. As CoastTV News reporter Brendan Conroy shows us those impacts.
Federal cuts to the Delaware Center for Inland Bays means an uncertain future. That's according to Director Christoph Tulu.
If we weren't here, somebody would want to create us. And so why would you let us go?
He tells CoastTV without government funding, protection, and preservation of the bays would become very limited.
It's really about our capacity to do something that, if you think about it, nobody else is doing. Nobody else really is able to do.
But says he is hoping for the best.
We've got huge expertise here, and we've got a lot of experience, and most of all, we've got a passion for this place, and it would be really, really sad to lose that.
Anything that protects the environment and protects our coasts and our beaches is critically important for recreation, for people to come and relax. It's extremely important.
Mike Snyder says he supports efforts to protect the bays and wants to see the center stay open. But at this point, he doesn't believe there's anything that can be done to stop the funding cuts.
To that, I support all that. However, something's got to be done about the spending, not for that particularly, but the spending generally and the tax structure in the country and in the states. And unfortunately, they've taken it out on things like the bays and the national parks.
With funding on the chopping block, the center's role in protecting the coast could soon be scaled back.
Now to tariffs. After Trump announced a 10% tariff on all countries this week, China has decided to hit back with a tariff of their own. They're also cutting back on some of their imports, specifically chicken. This includes China suspending all chicken imports from Delmarva Chicken Processing Company, Mount Ayr Farms. Mount Ayr Farms has locations across Delmarva, including Millsboro, Selbyville, and Frankfort. China said it's detected a banned drug in shipments from Mount Ayr Farms and another company. We reached out to Mount Ayr for a statement who referred us to the National Chicken Council. The statement says, in quote, "The bottom line for the American consumer is that this should have little to no effect on their chicken sandwich or wings, as more than 99% of the chicken we eat in America is hatched, raised, and harvested right here in the USA." The Commerce Ministry of Beijing also announced it filed a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization over the tariffs. Meanwhile, sweet treats could soon cost more due to new tariffs. Local candy shop Snyder's in Rehoboth Beach says at least 70% of their items are imported from other countries like Swedish fish, Dubai chocolate, and licorice. And if tariffs hit hard, they would have to switch to buying candy from within the U.S., but they say that would basically defeat the purpose of the exotic experience that customers often stop by for.
To be honest, it's going to really cost us a lot of money, and it's going to be a lot harder just to be able to obtain or even really be able to keep the business.
Coming up tomorrow on CoastTV News, tune in for lots of hotels, but not as many people staying in them. That's according to new numbers from Ocean City.
We saw highs today around 79 in Georgetown, and look at this by, well, Wednesday morning, it's going to be 28 degrees. We are going to be in a downright freeze. We'll talk all about that and the rain moving in for Monday. My full forecast a little bit later on the newscast.
The Rehoboth Drawbridge meeting, that's happening tomorrow. How DelDOT wants to fix up this bridge that leads into the city. And the race for open space, raising money for the 4th Street Preserve in Lewis. Hundreds of people raced for open space yesterday. The 5K and 1 mile walk raises money for the 4th Street Preserve. That's 39 acres of woods in downtown Lewis. And CoastTV was a sponsor. Our very own Madeline Overturf was the MC, and Petey the Peacock was out there as well. The Open Space Alliance says it still needs $1.6 million of its $8 million goal to buy the parcel, which is more meaningful than money can buy. Jim Ford is the chairperson for the Open Space Alliance and says getting funds to buy those 39 acres of woods is key for the preservation of the land.
There's a general sentiment around the area about the development that's taken place and the pace of the development and the imbalance that's occurred. And it's not that we're an anti-development organization at all, but the idea of having a good balance, preserving a little bit of natural habitat, little walking area.
The Open Space Alliance has a contract to purchase the land this September, so time is ticking to reach that $8 million goal. And we have in-depth coverage on this parcel. You can check that out right now on CoastTV.com. In Rehoboth Beach, DelDOT says the drawbridge leading into downtown needs structural work to help prevent erosion. DelDOT is eyeing the off-season for these repairs for 10 weeks in between this October and lasting through next April. Tomorrow, DelDOT will host a public meeting about the project at 5 p.m. at the Rehoboth Beach Convention Center. Delaware's wild turkey season opened up this weekend, but Denrex says some new changes are coming to this season and mainly for hunting on Sundays. Denrex says this is the first time Sunday turkey hunting has been allowed in the state since 1991, but it's only permitted on private lands with landowner permission and on designated state wildlife areas. It's still not allowed on state forest and national wildlife refuges. The season runs from April 5th to May 10th in Delaware. A new animal shelter is coming to Wicomico County. The Humane Society of Wicomico County says they're building a new shelter on Goldman Lane, less than a mile away from their current building in Salisbury. The nonprofit says the new facility is expected to cost anywhere from $5 to $7 million, and they're looking for donations to help get it done. They say it will have more space and upgraded facilities to accommodate the number of animals that come into the shelter. And right now, no construction timeline is set for the new Wicomico County shelter. Coming up, some tips on how to get fit this summer. That's right after weather.
And we are going to see plenty of rain across the area tomorrow. Heavy at times throughout the morning and afternoon. Then it will begin to taper off through Monday evening. We are trending a bit heavier as far as the rainfall goes tomorrow. We'll talk all about that and the big cool down coming midweek. That's all coming up. My full forecast right after the break. Well, it wasn't a terrible weekend overall. We would like to have seen more sunshine and maybe the 80s more across much of Del Mar. But this was one of the areas that hit the lower 80s briefly today. With Salisbury, we hit lower 80s. Right now, we're at 54. Winds are relatively calm as we await the rain that's going to be moving in around the 1, 2 a.m. hour. And then it will begin to get heavy at times through daybreak tomorrow. You can see right now we're holding at 53 in Rehoboth, 51 Bethany Beach, 51 Ocean Pines, and we are at 54 in Georgetown. Winds are relatively calm, but generally out of the east. So we're going to have an east wind tomorrow with rain. It's going to be kind of nasty. 79 was our high. You see that high hit just before noon. 63 was is the average, and the record 89 set back in 2023. So rain heavy at times tomorrow. The rain will clear late. Looks like Monday night the rain's going to be ending, and then it turns cold and blustery. We're going to be plenty sunny into Tuesday, but it is going to be downright cold. So the rain chances over the next 7 days, we ramp them up tonight into pretty much all of Monday, and then we dry things out, and then we're going to watch a system Friday into Saturday. Could be dealing with potentially a nor'easter as we get into the latter part of the week. We have a gale watch up for the Delaware Bay as well as the Delaware coast. That runs through 10 o'clock tomorrow, and then the small craft advisory further to the south and into the bay. That runs through noon tomorrow. You can see some light showers just to our north, but you can see kind of this train of moisture as this stalled out front is going to park just to our south, and the cold front off to the north here across Minnesota, that's going to be pushing into our area tomorrow night, ushering in that return of winter-like temperatures. Overnight, we fall into the upper 40s, 47 Milton, 48 in Rehoboth Beach, with that rain overspreading the area. Rain heavy at times throughout the day, and you can see temperatures really don't drop or rise all that much, so it's going to be a rather raw day. Futurecast show some heavy rain as we go into the 4 a.m. hour, pushing into Salisbury, into the coast, and you could see even by 6 a.m. pretty heavy along the coast, and then we'll kind of see a bit of a lull, and then look at that, by 10 a.m. seeing some heavy rain up and down the coast from Rehoboth, Dewey Beach down through Ocean City, and then we get a bit of a lull there, and then some more rain into Monday night. And then I think by late Monday night, we begin to taper off, and then that wind really begins to ramp up. So you can see further to the south, Ocean City to Pocomoke City, some heavy rain into Monday morning, and then that continues into Monday night. And then those strong northwesterly winds kick in. So rainfall totals generally 1 to 2 inches, maybe an isolated area picks up a little over 2 further to the south you go. There's those winds into Tuesday, gusting upwards of 40 miles an hour as that cold Canadian air filters in. High pressure builds in. You're going to want to protect those plants, maybe bring them in, as we are forecasting quite a freeze, hard freeze, as we go into Wednesday morning, with temperatures dipping as low as the upper 20s. We dry out, sunshine, Tuesday into Wednesday. We're up to 57 on Thursday, and then watching for that potential coastal storm Friday into Saturday, and then we dry things out into Passover and Palm Sunday.
Thank you, Chris. And now to some health news. Being healthy should be a lifelong goal, but as weather gets warmer and vacations may be looming, you may have found some extra motivation to help shed a few pounds you may have put on during the colder months. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to a sports medicine doctor about what to do to get fit for the summer.
You might be eyeing that swimsuit and the number on the scale. If you have a fitness goal to reach before summer, start now.
It's very reasonable to see weight loss in the first few weeks. However, in order to really put on muscle mass and develop muscle tone, that often develops over more of a longer time period. roughly 8 to 12 weeks.
Dr. Matthew Anastasi with Mayo Clinic says health should be a long-term goal, but if you've suddenly found motivation, set yourself up for success by eating a well-balanced diet, a combination of fruits and veggies and lean proteins, while avoiding processed foods and added sugars. Next, be physically active. 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week is recommended. And switch it up. Do cardio some days and strength and resistance training other days.
I think the biggest key is to not try to go from 0 to 60 right away. We often see a lot of soft tissue injuries the beginning part of the year because people start the year off with a New Year's resolution and they go from not being active at all and being rather sedentary to trying to run 5 miles per day.
To stay motivated, Anastasi says to build exercise into your schedule. He says getting good quality sleep is also key, allowing your body to recharge. And remember to stay hydrated. Avoiding alcohol can also help.
There can be a lot of unnecessary calories and sugar in alcohol. So when you're looking at trying to lose weight, those can be working against you.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
The doctor says he is often asked what's the best diet for getting healthier. He recommends a Mediterranean diet, which is a plant-based with healthy fats and a moderate amount of fish, poultry, eggs, and dairy. He says that diet can help a person lead an active lifestyle while eating well-balanced meals. Still to come here on Coast TV News at 11, we look at the extension of the TikTok ban from President Trump. We have that story next. President Donald Trump has delayed enforcement of a law that would ban TikTok, while his staff works on a deal to maintain access to the app in the United States. Friday, Trump announced the deadline has been extended for 75 days. In a social media post, the president says his administration is working hard on a deal to save TikTok. This news comes ahead of yesterday's deadline. Layoff announcements for March reached their third highest level ever, according to a new report published Thursday by Challenger Gray and Christmas. More than 275,000 layoffs were announced last month. It's a 60% jump from February and the highest level since the pandemic. The biggest culprit was one particular employer, the federal government. The Department of Government Efficiency announced plans to axe more than 216,000 federal jobs. Bruce Springsteen is set to release over 80 new songs this summer. The track's 2 Lost Albums collections include 7 full-length albums with songs that have never been heard by the general public. However, Springsteen says close friends have heard these songs over the years. The collection drops on June 27th. A judge in Georgia has ruled rapper Young Thug did not violate his probation with a social media post. Fulton County prosecutors say Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, reposted a photo of a district attorney's office investigator that went viral. Prosecutors asked a judge to revoke Williams' probation because there is a court order for the investigator's face not to be shown on TV since she is testifying in a gang murder hearing, but the judge denied that request. Tax day is right around the corner on April 15th, and ahead of that deadline, fewer Americans have filed their federal taxes at this point in the filing season compared to last year. Also, more people have requested extensions. That's according to a private IRS numbers and the latest public data as of March 21st. The IRS had received nearly 1 million fewer tax returns than it had gotten in the same period last year. Experts say the drop by itself isn't necessarily a concern, but also not unusual. But this year's drop comes amid concerns about possible declines in revenue collection. And we now take a live look into Salisbury, and after the break here on Coast TV News at 11, we have a final check on your forecast. The Delaware Winds held its spring concert today at the Cape Penelope High School. The semi-professional wind ensemble is made up of individuals who are or were music professionals at some point. Our very own digital content manager, Zoe Stamen, played the French horn, and don't they sound great? And do you ever wonder what your dog is doing while you're at work? Here are some pups having more fun there than their owners. Former UNC basketball player Baden Jackson recently launched the Pup Park Shuttle, a Raleigh-based dog-sitting service with transportation. Dogs are picked up in a miniature school bus, buckled up, and given a full day of adventure. Visiting multiple dog parks and trails, Jackson returns the dogs at the end of the day, exhausted and content. Changes to the lottery game are coming following Friday night's drawing. For starters, the cost of a ticket will go from $2 to $5. The tickets will also include a built-in multiplier, which will increase non-jackpot prizes. Those prizes will also see a bump. Another change is that starting jackpot will be $50 million, which is more than double the current standing jackpot of $20 million.
So you're saying I have a better chance of winning, right? Well, have to play to win, right? Well, as we march along here in the spring season, 9 days away from tax, 14 days away from Easter, and 50 days away from Memorial Day. That certainly sounds good. 46th overnight, rain develops. Boy, I tell you what, tomorrow just a raw day, nasty. 49 with that rain moving in. 48 cold and blustery. You can see gusts as high as 40 on Tuesday. Get your weather anytime by dialing our First Alert weather phone. Yellow alert tomorrow for the rain. We're down to 28 Tuesday night to Wednesday, and then we're dry most of the week with the exception of Friday and the Saturday, watching a potential coastal storm there.
Thank you, Chris. Now get us a pair of lottery tickets. I'll see what we'll come up with. Thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. We'll see you in just a few hours for Coast TV News Today, starting at 5 a.m. Have a great night.